last week got a 4K3 on Freddy, looking to have something similar, and we are loaded in here to Sanctum of Wrath, a map I kind of like, Egdar.
A map that you kind of like. I wonder if the Freddy players are going to quite agree with you there. You have to get quite creative. You can utilize the dream palettes effectively. It's quite a cramped map, if that makes sense. As in, you know, there's going to be lots of resources with these rocks so close together where you can place a lot of dream palettes. You're going to have 4 lanes where you can try and get hits maybe through the wall with them as well. Survivor's going to opt for some early game stealth here. So just see if you can outlast the killer more than anything else. Milston, however, not quite stealthing to the best of the ability. Someone needs to call in the assassins or something. But DW not committing to that because he found a juicier target in Tech. Provided that you're putting pressure on the survivors, provided that they're able to have them on the run up against the ropes and not actively working on gens, that's kind of fine for you, you know? Even though Milston was found, is going to have to take an extra minute to get on a gen. Tech, however, not so lucky, injured up, and DW finding a relatively early chase means that DW is going to commit to a very early chase. Beautiful vault of the window from the slowdown. I don't really foresee Tech making any amount of distance. That's a very quick first down from DW. So
I think there's like a quarter second left on the hinder there before they got the fast vault there. I want to point this out. This map is almost always a 3-1-3 split. 3 gens on one side, 3 on the other, with 1 in the main building. DW, very fortunate, does have the 4 gen on this one side. I hope the survivors are able to identify that and realize they really, typically you want to get 1 gen done on either side, and then you've got a split 3 gen for the end, preferably getting the middle gen as well. In this situation, though, they do have 4 generators on the side of the map we're on right now, and I'm sure DW has noticed, and I wonder if the survivors have managed to identify that yet. Only 2 generators on the side we took the chase here. Tech gets a pretty quick unhook. We're going to head back after we threw a few snares there on Metox. We're running over to try and continue the tunnel out. The survivors are 75% done their first generator. The unfortunate thing is one of the survivors had to cross the map to get the unhook here. Means we've only got 2 active generators and only 1 with a lot of progress. Great heads-up play there by Tech on the Ormond tile, and looks like Metox is going to stay here and run interference. We're going to let 2 survivors crank those generators and have 2 working the chase right now. We are going to get... We're really not wanting to take... Yeah, with the snare, does the body... prevents the body block and goes through Metox, gets the down there, but we're going to look for another hit here.
Yeah, and we're going to get it by the skin of our teeth as well. It's always a small victory, but a victory nonetheless for DW that he's going to take. Tech going to be going to second stage. Has Tech been able to crawl over to a pallet? Yes, and that obviously makes save inherently very, very risky. We have spotted a wild Lara here, I believe, in Milston, but going to be scared away enough. Sort of. Firecracker attempt came out. A bold maneuver, for sure. Is it one that paid off? No, but that's fine. We can move on with our lives. DW going to drag this hook all the way to the corner of the map as well. Not a fantastic spot to have it. Ideally, you can have it, say, in that main building for a lot of pressure, or just in the gen split as well. But you know, in a set like this, you sort of take what you can get. And it doesn't change the fact that your first initial down on Tech came out super quickly, that even if your mid-game slows down a little bit, you're still on pretty good track. That being said, solid survivor recovery. Would like to maybe see a reset onto Metox, but it's not the most urgent, pressing issue that the survivors have.
Floppy Butcher is going to make that take a little while longer.
Yeah.
This hook in the corner I was a little bit unsure of, but I guess the idea was there was some progress on this generator. We'd rather be across the map near those other generators, but you know, we are near. Well, no, sorry, we're on the good side of the map. There was some progress on this generator, so I think the idea was really going to be able to camp this out. And yeah, they're coming in for the save. They're going to do a trade, but that's going to leave Milston on the ground. Tech is on his last life here. We're going to have to try and make this work. We are, unfortunate. We are going to come back for the pain res, but looks like the slight hesitation trying to get the snare on Tech there to put him asleep. And the pain res is going to come in just after that generator pops. Not too bad a situation for our killer. But,
we find Tech.
We did find Tech.
Yeah, that's a tad disastrous. Not sure how else to put it. So Tech's actually going to run back over to the unhook, but they're not able to necessarily just hold W completely. Milston, again, trying to be the sacrificial lamb here. Milston not asleep. So is still able to body block, isn't going to really be affected by that whatsoever. Now, mind gaming, you know, it's not so bad to mind game as one survive when you're doing it as two in perfect conjunction with each other. It's worse than that. But it seems like Tech has just totally vanished, dropped off the face of the earth here. Has been spotted along with Milston over here on the bottom side of the map. Milston, now asleep, isn't really going to be able to body block as effectively when the next snare comes out. Do we at least ferry him over to Shack Pallet? No, we don't, but it gets dropped anyway.
I think that DW was looking around thinking that Tech and Milston had peeled off and Tech had gone to cross the map. So I think that was why we were kind of looking around that rock at those scratch marks. I think those were older scratch marks. Ends up getting the down. Really, really smooth, clean snares here, using the loss of collision there to get through twice now on the body block. We've got Tech dead with 2 gens left. Survivors are not in a terrible position, but we still do have the 3 gen on this side of the map along with main building. So a kind of loose 4 gen. The 1 gen on the far side. Sorry. Yeah, we have 3 gens pretty tight here. They should be able to get 1 generator pretty easily as long as these chases take a little while. There's a lot of resources left on the map here still. So I think that they should be able to make it work. But a wrong time snare here or there, and the survivors are going to find themselves going down pretty quickly. This could be one of them. Metox is awake, so this isn't going to slow him down, but that's 1 away from putting him back to sleep. Oh, maybe we don't need to.
Odd. You have the pallet gym there and you don't play it, which is an intriguing decision from Metox. I have to see how that works in the long term, especially because Drago and Milston, they're not too focused on resetting each other. They're focused on just cranking out their generators as much as possible. Now that Drago's in chase, Milston likely going to be dragged over to Metox. A nice win of the 50 there. Drago not taking the vault is going to allow distance over to this 4 lane. Dodges the snare as well, so he's going to have extra time. Not so lucky with the Dream Pallet, but not eating an injury. Now we found Milston. This begs the question of what exactly is happening with Metox, because we found Milston now. Surely Drago is now going to have to be dragged over to get that pickup instead. Milston was, I guess, just greeting the Shack gen, and that is a hit and a half, my friend. But DW gets it over the pallet. 2 survivors down, but you're not able to stop Metox getting picked up, so you're going to take your hook. Not a pain res, we already used one of those onto Milston, but a survivor dead on hook regardless is going to be fantastic for the it's going to be fantastic for the economy. We'll put it like that.
Well, we're going to get a basement hook here. We're right underneath the generator with progress. We did see Metox get picked up by Drago, but as you saw, I mean, Drago was in chase, and then Milston was in chase, so that's going to really cost all of that gen progress that we had. Metox woke up, but is now asleep again, so we're going to be trying to play this Orman tile. The Orman tile, unfortunately, we get stuck in a spam vault situation, and that's going to go down. The unhook is about to come in. Sorry, just did come in. We saw Drago going down to the basement there as the down came in. We are leaving Metox on the ground again. Lay on your belly and think about what you've done. We're going to go see if we can stop what's going on here. Obviously, with Drago still asleep, we can't even hide and try to do a reset at this point. So I think that DW is pretty content on trying to secure this 4K2, which, like I said, in the past, we've seen that happen plenty of times. We get the pickup here. I think we should be able to get a hit on Drago, so now everybody's injured. But we're trying to get this slug out. It's taking a little while. The gens were regressing, so there's not a ton of gen progress anywhere yet. But all 3 survivors are on their feet, so this is when they can get something done potentially.
Everyone's injured, but everyone's on their feet. Everyone's up, and I think that's a big part of it as well. Provided the survivors are on their feet, there is always a chance that someone could slip under DW's nose, that a gen could move a bit faster. Maybe it's the Deja player with an extra 6% or so. Maybe one injured survivor is able to take a fantastic chase, maybe utilizing resilience or something along those lines, right? You know, there's so many worlds in which the survivors, just by virtue of standing on their feet, being able to continue playing the game, can bring this one back. We see that Milston is on a generator, actively progressing. Yes, it doesn't have much into it, but with these gens, oftentimes you'll blink when they're at 20%, open your eyes, and they're almost done.
I believe Milston got back on that Shack Gen the moment DW left it. This is that pallet, that little pallet. Oh, and great little quick reverse mind game there. And we're going to take the hook on Metox now. Potentially the pain res. Yeah, it looks like we will take the pain res. Try to get it a little bit more central, so maybe so that it's closer to this generator that we can teleport to. Also we see blood here, so that's going to hit the Shack Gen, and we know that Milston is in the area. We are following the blood marks, the scratch marks. We've come back to this familiar Ormond tile. Milston, Drago is asleep. So going to, yes, great little swing play there, DW. And Milston has gotten off the generator. Last man standing, never mind. Crouch nearby, and that's a 4K2. Solid performance by DW for Team Oboy.
You say solid, I say fantastic, right? We heard it earlier, and it holds true. 4K1 is the standard. You beat that, and it's such a massive burden for the other for the other killer to have to achieve, right? I mean, I was in the VC of Mercy when they were having to get such a crazy result on killer, and it's just it feels really debilitating. It feels like, oh gosh, well, how do we approach this, right? I mean, yeah, no, this is tough, but all the credit in the world to DW. The interesting thing coming into this, off the back of this, I have to say that Oboy win like this set specifically, right? It was, I believe it was their pick as well. Yeah, it was their pick, so it does kind of stand to reason. Coming into this, I was predicting an Aegis 3-0.
On the Nightmare, on Freddy, against the survivors of Oboy, we've got Nazan, Rez, Francesco, and Mathis. Here on the Sanctum of Wrath, once again, I think that, you know what? No, sorry, there's a generator very close to main here. I was going to say the very rare 4 spawn happened twice, but it did not. We do, in fact, have, I believe, a 3-1-3 split. So a little bit more standard. That thing I was mentioning, oh, very quick find here on Mathis, although good pallet play and gets the stun. Haven't landed any, I don't know what that edge map run was. Maybe anticipating a blind snare that didn't come. Nonetheless, the snare did miss. Fasti is going to try and pressure this Ormond tile. Unfortunately, Mathis drops the pallet.
He's behind you.
Yeah, drops the pallet on the wrong side, and that's going to end up getting our first M1. This pallet is still here, but if we can land a snare, we're not going to make it too far. This is the problem with Freddy. He is very strong in situations. If you get slowed down, these rotations are hard. It looks like great play by Mathis. Just full sent it.
Around that he's rock, in front of you.
No doubling back, but then unfortunately gets hit with a snare, and yeah, that happens. So just as I'm singing his praises, unfortunately Mathis did go down pretty quickly. That is going to be our first hook. Will it come in before the generator pops? Looks like yes, it will.
I mean, goodness, Mathis, not the conduct that we expect out of a former staff member, but no, it's a tough chase. The survivors have taken a slower start. That's the thing. They're erring on the side of caution. I think I respect it, but whether it pays off or not is only something that can be answered in a few minutes, right? You note that the early priority of the survivors actually wasn't instantly hopping on gens, but it was waking themselves up. Part of me is surprised at that. If you're not actively planning to reset someone, you're not in chase, you're not really at risk. I'm not fully confident in why waking up is your immediate priority. And Francesco's been found out having been woken up anyway. Yeah, okay. And my god, nerves of steel on Francesco. Just sees Fasti on the corner, holds the vault anyway, and is able to make it back to the window as well. Slowed up here, so he's going to be eating an M1. Math has been taken off the hook in the meantime. Fasti's got to make a decision now. Am I committing to Francesco for freshes? Because Nazan is currently healing out Mathis, and if Mathis gets fully healed, then, you know, your tunnel out is gone. You can't really take advantage of the survivor's slow start.
Well, so Fasti went all the way across the map, managed to find 2 generators that had a lot of progress. Sorry, not a lot of progress. Kick both of them, apply eruption, so both of them just got reduced another 10%, and then got this down pretty quickly. We did hear Rez get their gen done across the map, so that's the first gen done. I think that Fasti was thinking there wasn't a whole lot of gen progress, which, I mean, I agree with what you're saying. Like, if you take it slow and steady can sometimes win the race, but in this situation, like Frosty is ranging far out from the hook there. I realize you can teleport back to the hook pretty quickly with the teleports to the generators like this, coming over to hear this. That was Mathis on that generator and got it's down to 0 again. So we have basically 0 gen progress done. We've got 2 fresh hooks. We're getting our second chase here on Mathis. Like, I'm concerned.
Guys, watch
Egdar.
out!
Yeah, he's right in front. Listen, you can't. There's only so much you can do against this guy. All right. We're picking on poor Mathis here. I'm getting concerned. There's not enough gen progress right now to get 4 generators done before this gets out of control, Egdar. And I'm a little bit concerned. They cracked 1 gen on this side of the map. We've got the chase on the correct side of the map now, right? We want to keep chase on this side. Oh, and we actually get a pallet explosion down. Mathis tried their best, but really the zoning of the pallet just it's too hard to avoid sometimes. Had to get through that door, take an M1, gets through the door, and gets blown up just around the corner. Second hook coming in.
Yeah, and what about that gen progress, huh? There's none of it. So Ivers have not been... Again, they had their slow start, but if they're not able to necessarily have the longevity and chase to match it, or the gen pressure at least to match it, then, you know, what can you realistically do? Francesco, the other player dead on hook, has been caught out. Mathis taken off the hook. It was, I believe, Rez that came in for that. And again, oddly enough, Fassi is really not concerned about that at all. He's going to take a quick hook onto Francesco, even before prioritizing getting Mathis out of the game. You're tunneling 2 people right now, and against most teams, I feel like that would just be like complete suicide. But this is working for Fasti right now.
Like, the problem is that now you've got 2 people that if you find them, you take them out of the map, and heaven forbid you get both of them, and now it's a 2v1. Sure, Nazan and Rez both have all their hooks. Great, who cares? There's only 2 of them, right? They still gotta get. They need to get. Pardon me. They need to get 2 generators done just to get the tie condition. Pardon me, I'm choking for a second. I apologize.
Yeah, you're not the only one. Fasti
Well
venturing
said.
through the basement. Fasti venturing around the basement right now. Francesco spotted, being taken off the hook. Nazan intercepted, hit with an M1, dragged into the dream world for his troubles, but of course that's not really the target that we're going for. Nazan had so much progress on a gen. I'm looking at the counter. I don't know if I'm hallucinating, but there's still 4 left. This is comically slow. This is like slower than my granddad, like in a wheelchair, bro. Like these gens are just not moving in the slightest. They have to be going into a better direction than this, or you know, oh boy, completely out of this one. We do get the swing around the corner. We do finally complete another gen. Remember the stakes that Fasti's playing for right now. 1 more gen gets completed, and that's the tie condition already, right? That was the power that DW was able to accrue. And Rez actually picked up a very progressed gen, so the tie condition is going to be met.
Okay.
Fortunate, but what about the win? You know, 4K1 should be achievable for most survivors against Freddy. They still have 3 people alive, even if Mathis is dead on hook, and Rez is having a decent chase thus far. Nazan and Mathis may be doubling up the final gen. Is there even the right amount of progress for the final gen to be completed? Who knows?
Well, I want to point something out here. I think that Rez, I don't know. I'd have to talk to them to understand it. There was you mentioned that generator was very high. I wonder if a generator on the side of the map that had already, like on the shack side that already had a gen completed, I wonder if they 99'd it just in case a pain res came in. Because that's what it looked like to me without being able to see what they were doing, right? Like, all we see is the HUD and what was going on with that. So I'm wondering if that's why there was one at 99. Because right after the second gen popped, the third gen popped almost immediately. It's like they ran over and finished it. So I'm not sure what the story was there, but in the end, they did get to the tie condition, which is definitely good considering the way things were starting there with both Mathis and Francesco being very close to, sorry, I'm just listening to this generator, being very close to elimination. I gotta say, well, Francesco was playing those chases very strange. Nerves of steel, but also was camping pallets that can be very dangerous. And I mean, the proof's in the pudding, and they're out of the game. So a couple times when I felt like maybe you should be rotating, they like this pallet here, when when we were standing stone-faced at this pallet, that was shocking to me because it felt like, yeah, you're standing down looking down the barrel of a gun, but at the same time, you end up, like, if all you have to do is lose a 50-50 instead of making distance. Mathis takes a hit here. Mathis is 1m1 away from being eliminated and going down to a 2v1. And we got the head-on came in! Oh my goodness, what a great play! I don't know which one that was, but great play. Unfortunately, are we gonna get another? Nope, we're gonna range out, but that zoning power is gonna be enough. I don't see any gen progress, Egdar.
I mean, there's a chance that something's being worked on right now. You know, what that tells me, right? If you're making a head-on play that bold, it's to buy time. If Math is going to the corner map, it's to buy time, right? Math has already been pain res. This isn't going to be more regression. I have to assume that the survivor that was not utilizing the locker for the head-on play is currently just bum rushing a gen as much as possible. The question is, can Fasti intercept the correct one? Are the survivors even working the gens at all? You know, who knows? You decide.
We got both injured. Okay, that's some progress, but I mean, the problem is the other generator across the map does not have nearly enough progress that we can leave this one as is. You almost have to have Nazan come over and pick up this generator if we were to get into chase. But yeah, Fasti just wants to kind of bounce back and forth between the two generators. I gotta say, that feels like a miscommunication. Maybe Rez didn't have eyes. That's gonna be a swing and a hit there on Nazan, and that's enough. Now there's not enough progress. We're gonna leave him slugged and go after Rez. I think Rez was trying to make max distance away from the generator, anticipating the chase from Fasti, and wasn't able to call out. Yeah, it's over. Wasn't able to communicate that he turned around. Fasti had turned around and was going back to the other generator. Nazan made very little distance, was able to play that pallet a couple times, but it was not nearly enough. And that is going to be a 4K2. So 2 weeks in a row, Oboy is going to the tiebreaker on the Freddy set. I'm happy to take everybody through what the Armageddon tiebreaker is, but Egdar, would you like to, or do you want me to take it?
Go for it, King. You're a very well-spoken, soft-spoken individual. I want to hear your voice for the rest of my days.
That is many lies all in one sentence, but I'll take them. I'm egotistical enough to enjoy it. Anyways.
I'm just here to flatter you. It's okay.
I'm here for it with that soft, smooth British accent. I love it. The British Canadian, as I like to call it. Anyways,
most people ask me if I'm Australian. Weirdly enough.
Oh, really? That's fair. That's fair. Anyways, Armageddon tiebreaker.
Accrues if DW accrues 10 stages or better, then it's over.
Why is there an unblocked gen over here? Are there 3?
Who knows, man?
Well, is there must be a very, very corner gen on the side we spawned on. Well, I love that. DW is sitting up there like a hawk, you know, like Hawkeye up in a nest, whatever, right? Looking around, sees the faintest hint of an ace, runs or teleports over and initiates chase with Tech here. So Tech is in the first chase. Great head-on play there by the 11-player Drago. So Drago is inserting himself into the chase. We do know the head-on player doesn't tend to have a whole ton of anti-tunnel. So DW opts to go for the 11 here. We're playing this rock. That is going to be our first hit. And you can see already Milston and Metox are on the generators. They are not taking their time like they did last time. They are getting on those gens immediately. Teleport over to main. Looks like we might get a chase here on Metox. Metox is going to take a hit again. Lots of damage going out. We need these gens done.
Yeah. It feels like an arms race right now. The survivors are pursuing the gens aggressively. DW's pursuing the injuries and the hits aggressively. You know, at some point, they're both just going to go full force. I feel like it's going to be a faster game regardless of what happens. It's either going to be the survivors pop out the gens, or DW just ends up bringing everyone down. Milston not falling for DW there. DW swinging through the pallet, getting a whole lot of nothing. And so now maybe that 9-stage refresh doesn't look so difficult. Bottom 1 pallet in the game utilized to its full effectiveness, aka Tech takes a hit and ends up having to leave over to this other side of the map. Has this dropped Rockville already? And despite what I said earlier, Survivor's actually taking some time to reset here. Drago just got reset. by Milston, I would believe. Tech still being chased around the rock, has been running it one too many times. DW barely going to get the tag there, but it's relatively even as far as first chases go.
That I don't know. Honestly, time will tell. We'll have to see. I don't know if I love what we were doing there. DW tagged tagged the survivor, left chase. He's trying to stop these gens from being completed. Tagged the survivor, left chase. Tagged the survivor, left chase. Tagged the survivor. Finally got the down. They reset. Now we're gonna get the hook here. I'm wondering if time will tell. I wonder if we're overthinking it here. Really concerned about letting one gen pop. Play your game. Just play your game, DW. What did you do first game? Tunneled somebody out quickly. They got one, maybe two generators done for it. You got down to the 3v1, and they didn't get another generator done in the 3v1, I believe. I think they had 2 gens done by the time... Yeah, they had 2 gens left by the time we tunneled out our survivor, and then we were golden. They didn't get another generator done. Get somebody out of this game. So I'm wondering what if DW has like different information or different plans. We'll have to wait and see.
He takes a life over to Shaq. This generator doesn't have a whole lot of progress on it. DW is kind of playing his game right now of just, you know, slowly but surely pressuring out the gens around the map while still heading over to Tech. And right now drops off the high ground. Tags Milston, knows if anyone's going to pull Tech, this is the time. And yeah, who's been spotted crossing over? It's Metox, right? So this is already causing a little bit of panic in the survivors. You know, it's not going to be the easy unhook that they thought it would be. Going to be minimum of a trade, but DW actually opts to abandon ship right now. Look over for the gens instead. It's an awful... I suppose it's an awful dichotomy to have, you know, are you looking at the gens, you're looking at the survivor. Tech might just go to second stage here, and yeah, and DW wasn't actually, when you look at it, DW wasn't applying that much pressure, all things considered, you know. One little wander over to the side of the map that Tech was on, but no pull onto Tech, that's a stage gone, and Tech is now a very easy tunnel out target.
Really good, really good use of information. Knew where the survivors were, managed to intercept the cross going for the unhook, and it worked out. I was gonna say our teleport was on cooldown because we had just teleported over and interrupt Drago. So now we weren't able to go directly back to hook. Tech has left the unhook area. Can we sniff them out, or are we gonna have to start spreading some damage here? We do have 3 injured survivors, so we have some pain res opportunities. We have some switch pressure opportunities here. But at the end of the day, best case scenario would be we find Tech here. Who is this? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. DW with the biggest heads up play in the world manages to find manages to find Tech.
DW found himself, bro.
DW looks in the mirror and goes, look at that handsome fella. And there's Tech over there. Tech's out of the game. And now we've got a death at 4 gens. Not 2 gens. This is crazy.
Okay, so yeah, who called the 9 stages, bro? Who called the 9 stages?
They get so aggressive. I don't know, man.
Overconfidence is a flimsy shield, as a good robotic friend of mine would say. God, I mean, now it's kind of free reign for DW. Another generator completed is really not going to matter. In fact, you've just now kind of locked down locations of some extra survivors. You know, someone's working on that gen and going to be trying to escape the corner. You know, someone was in mid and has just moved over into the other corner. And yep, Milston found injured here, isn't going to be able to make anything. And an eruption proc onto the remaining gens as well. 4K3
we see auras.
Very real. Plus, yeah, we see the aura
of the auras.
Metox.
The other aura, Drago's on that generator right in front of you there. Yeah, we saw both auras. Sorry, I didn't know. If
DW's pausing just to let us know. Like, no, I saw him right here, guys.
I know, I got him. Yeah. Points over there.
DW knows. Yeah, DW knows exactly what we're. These are the kind of comms that survivors do. They're like, bro, the kill's right there, and then they point at their screen. DW is playing cautious, knows that head-on is a real possibility, has been struck once by it before, and lightning in DBD can strike the same location twice, quite unfortunately. So DW is going to take a pain res and a pretty safe spot to do it as well. Survivors falling asleep right now means that they can't reset each other too easily. I don't see a world in which the survivors complete the gens that's required of them. I just don't.
Well, keep in mind too, they need to get one fresh survivor out the door, or somehow they need 3 hooks out the door, or 4 hooks if everyone's been hooked. Oh, good try there on the swing through, but great stun by Drago. Drago, unfortunately, only has this corner rock. Not asleep yet, though, so the snare's not going to matter. We're going to make this window vault. Really good job. Like, this is what I'm talking about. There are some strong locations, but you have to have scouted them out first. Obviously, scouted this out, knows it's here. This pallet's still down from a previous chase. DW says, I'm tired of it. It's going away. And, yeah, it looks like Drago's a little bit zoned. And, again, this middle area, like, maybe maybe this not great pallet on the edge here, there's not a whole lot of help crossing from one side of the map to the other. We are going to slug and continue. We're looking for a 4K3, 4K2 here result for DW. Really wants to make a statement here in this first Freddy match.
Yeah, having a bit of a gander, seeing exactly what can be found around everyone. Another survivor spotted. We even catch a snipe. I didn't think we were playing Deathslinger yet, but, you know, you can land the snipes anyway. That one may be a little bit egregious to go for, but, you know, you have to respect the attempt regardless. DW just mind gaming around this wall. Eventually takes the vault to try and cut it in half. Metox had it scouted. Already has made distance back over to the window. I believe Metox has the Lithe as well and has just utilized it to a decent amount of potential. Now getting hit with the slow, not able to make the pallet in time. And yeah, DW, why not just carry on the cycle of slugs? You know, provided that the downs will come out slightly quicker every time. Just a smidge, you're eventually going to be able to catch up with the survivor's momentum and be able to recover.
I'm wondering if the choice to not heal, and I'm talking about not even just right now. Good little mind game there on the TL wall there on Drago. Not even just right now, but just in general. I'm wondering if for both teams, I'm wondering if the decision not to heal has really cost people. I understand Freddy is very difficult to heal against, particularly with Sloppy Butcher. Obviously, there's multiple reasons why. 1, you have to both be awake. 2, Sloppy Butcher slows you down. 3, you glow white when you're sleeping too, so like it's really hard to like even stealth to get together. Even, you know, like there's a whole bunch of reasons why, you know, you got that sort of like white outline around you a lot of the times when you're asleep. So there's a lot of reasons not to heal, but I'm wondering if being injured against a killer that can very easily get an M1 on you is in the end the thing that costs both teams on the survivor side. Good heads up play.
I mean, yeah, Survivor's straight up not having a good time right now, even if Milston is, you know, vaulting that pallet to his heart's content. That's really strong DW, right? Takes a little look to the side, forces a slow vault from Milston, meaning that DW can just commit with the lunge. And we even note that Drago's going to be in the corner as well. Now it's a very simple matter. Trying down the farm survivor should not be too difficult when they are dropping green pallets in your face. Okay, look. Who called the 9 stage, bro? I'm sorry. You got 4K 2'd, and now you've been 4K 3'd, and I think this is a somewhat egregious showing of how this rule set can definitely backfire when the teams are a smidge overconfident, we'll put it like that. But hey, I was out here saying, oh, well, Aegis are going to 3-0 this one. I think they're the better team. No, Oboy get to take this set. And even though there was a tie, I'd argue that this tiebreaker was anything but close.
I swear last week, if I remember right, the same thing happened in a sense that it was DW going again, and the win condition was like 8 hooks or something, like 8 hooks for fresh, and I was blown away. And they pulled it off. Blizzard pulled it off. So I don't know. Maybe Aegis watched the game tape. Maybe Aegis played the game tape and thought DW had a fluke, but I don't know, man. You watched some 4K. If that's the case, you would have watched some 4K3 last week and definitively 4K2 this week, and you just 4K2'd, which means that's like, you know, Freddy's a strong killer. You know, between tires here and there and stuff like that, there are places where you can kind of sneak it through that survivors don't expect, and then suddenly they're dead on the ground. So anyways, we are in the match here. We've got Fasti trying to take back a set for Team Aegis. Very ambitious pre-throw there by Daimao. Daimao joining the survivors for Team Oboy right now. And good play on that pallet. Couldn't quite get that dash around the rock. We're going to pick up chase here on Francesco at Shack, and Shack pallet is down at 5 gens. Can you believe it, Egdar? How dare these people wasting Shack pallet like that? I'm just kidding, of course.
From what I know, Fasti's meant to be a very capable Dracula player as well. I wouldn't so go far as to say overpowered, though granted that's a fantastic Hellfire hit. Francesco loves in the animation, Fasti taking full advantage of it before popping back into the wolf form, see what more we can get. But yeah, I'm not going to overstate Fasti because I've not seen it myself live, but the rumor mill says that the streets are saying that Fasti's Dark Lord is on point. You know what I mean? Eventually going to be catching Francesco at this tile. Agitation is exceptionally popular on Dark Lord. It has been a must pick, a staple over the past couple of weeks. Not only does it work with the pain res super easy, but it also allows, especially on a map like Wreckers with a central shack and ergo a central basement, the ability to bring the survivors to the basement regardless of where they go down. Literally, unless you're in the very corner, Agi guarantees a basement hook every time. And, you know, Dracula is up there with Bubba. Not quite Bubba, but up there with Bubba in terms of the worst killers to ever be in basement against. You know what I mean? So, as far as things go now, it's relatively even. Fasti's got a good but not great first down. Francesco has a good but not great first chase. And the gen progress from the survivors is good but not great.
I think the gen progress, given how it's been lately, great Hellfire
Again?
there on Dazan. Yeah, he just really doesn't waits for the juke and then plays the juke. Just about gets that that pounce there. Doesn't quite hit it. The unhook hasn't come in. You can see both survivors are working on good anticipation. Hellfire there. Both of the survivors are working on generators, and now Fasti knows
Francesco?
it. Well, no, I was gonna say Fasti knows now that nobody is going for the unhook, so we're gonna go back. The thing is, though, we probably got to hear we can two tap here using Hellfire and prevent a one-person unhook here.
Too risky.
I'm not sure. Yeah, no, they're gonna let him go struggle, and they're gonna take the gen progress here. I want to say the agitation pick, by the way, the agitation I feel is less of a Dark Lord pick and more of a Wrecker's Yard pick. Like you said, with the shack, it gives you so much choice about where to put your hook. I think that is the main point, and Francesco gets pulled very quickly after going to struggle, which could work out in the killer's favor if we're able to continue this tunnel up very quickly. Francesco gets a stun there. As we revert from bat form, we're going to get a lithe. We go for a pounce, but unfortunately didn't see the lithe coming in, so Francesco's going to live a little while longer. But if we can get this tunnel out, this will be put the killer in a very strong position. Great dash. Now, is anyone nearby under this pallet? We know that Nizan was in the neighborhood. Swing through and doesn't get the stun. We're going to get it out and the injury. Oh my goodness. Fasti is in a great position. 4 team ages. Well played.
4K2. It's 4K2 off the back of that one. Jesus Christ. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. You have to get those saves. The timing is there. You have the distance. There was nothing stopping you from getting that.
I think he body blocked. I think he body blocked. I think he was coming from the wrong side, and then he swung back through the through Daimao, and as he swung through, the pallet went down. And it was, I don't think so much it was timing. I think it was more along the lines of coming at it from the body blocked side, and it just didn't work out.
Point is,
so I don't think it was timing is all I want to say. I think that unfortunately wasn't able to make it. So good play by the killer. So.
Fasti's going to be able to reap the benefit. Yeah, Fasti's going to be able to reap the benefits of this next chase as well, taking Mathis down quite quickly, being able to put them on pain res as well. 4K3 is looking imminent. Remember, Mathis had the most progressed generator, was working on it before getting chased off of it. Nazan and Daimao have not had the opportunity to continue the work onto that on account of Daimao's injury. So, you know, now they have to just stick it out. The pain res hit the most progressed generator. And now you really just have to scrape the bottom of the barrel for anything that Fasti's willing to offer you at this point.
We do track down Daimao here, injured from that attempted pallet save. This pallet is not great. We can 50-50 it. We're just going to fully... we're not vaulting. We're fully pressing W. We're going to get the down. We're going to take Daimao. We're going to take the pain res. I like what Fasti's doing here. Again, that hook is maybe max distance if you don't have agitation. As it is, you can hook with plenty of time to spare. Really enjoying this corner hook. It's really interesting. I find that typically in Wrecker's Yard, you want to hook central more in those basement hooks or closer towards the generators and stuff like that. But given the fact that pain res is so isolated and we know that there's progress across the map and on a nearby generator, anyone across the map is going to have to travel a long way and not get spotted to get that unhook. And also, we're able to interrupt that nearby gen. So I actually do like that corner hook, even though sometimes I would say corner hooks aren't great. He's in... He is in front of you.
If
this is our last fresh
if there's one thing I know how to do is to keep a bit going on far longer than it absolutely should be. Fastly forces Nazan into a bit of an unwinnable spot there, inching forward with the Hellfire, and times it perfectly, so even if you drop the part and get the stun, you don't stop the Hellfire coming out. That's your final fresh for the scorecards. It's also a nice pain resonance as well. Daemao broken, so likely going to have probably a second win, should be healthy, yep, right now. And then, Math is found on the corner there. Killer Instinct 2 says to Fasty, hey, right here, this is exactly the survivor that you want. But no, able to make distance again with the Hellfire. This is exactly what we're talking about. And now, Forced Play is a good palette for reference, but Mathis just G's away from it anyway. Of course, when you play with him, you do learn how to do that a couple times, I would imagine. But now Fasty is just going to be hot on the heels, taking the Scent Orbs for that haste, and Mathis has no other option than to die in comp corner.
So I'm wondering about that decision. I think maybe because there was progress on that nearby generator, but if neither of the others were there, that was such a strong palette. It wasn't so much that the palette is strong, like it's pretty dashable, but it also had the connected TL wall window there. So the choice to come over here, I hope we see a generator pop. I think we saw, we didn't see a reset come in. Daimao is tail. Oh, we got the instant pull over in that corner. Yeah, we just don't have the gen progress. I feel like that chase was very, I feel like we left a strong area just to, you know, run comp corner and die. And I don't think that we got enough for it. I think we needed to try and make that chase work. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they had somebody rotate onto the generator by the TL, and that's why. A very quick reset coming through here on Mathis, but does take the quick bite there again. And now we're on our last chase for last health state here for Mathis before we get eliminated from the match. Runs to that corner pallet. Pretty strong pallet over here too. Very mind gameable for Dracula, but you know what? Fasty's like, nah, I know you're zoned and I know what the gen progress is. So I'm going to go ahead and take this down, take this kill. Now the question is, are we going to take the hook here or are we concerned about the TL generator? We're going to take the hook. Okay. I think the TL might pop. Maybe.
Perhaps a bit less risky with agitation as well, right? You know, you can get the hook so quickly off that you don't need to immediately interrupt the hook. You know, having Mathis dead is going to be such a boon for you going forward that Fasty is happy to take it, move on with the rest of his day. Even got a little bit of aura reading, knew that a survivor's working on this gen by the rock specifically. Now you have one injured, one healthy survivor to find. You're Dracula, it's not like you struggle to get between these gens. 4K3 looking imminent, and this is just going to be the day of the killers having a fantastic time. And survivors maybe struggling to keep up. I wouldn't be surprised if like DW comes in after this for Oboy and 4K4s, just because God is dead and we killed him or something like that.
Yeah, not nearly enough gen progress here. See, I liked Mathis's last chase there. Played the tile and then the rock. Unfortunately, we just decided to kick the rock, kick the pallet at the rock there. I like that a lot better, but I was a little bit disappointed about this chase here. I felt like that was oh, Daimao with the quick juke, but unfortunately, Fasty has 2 jumps and takes the second pounce right on the behind. And we're coming over here. Obviously, Nazan is over here somewhere. We haven't been able to sniff him out, but what's that? I say sniff him out. We see a scent orb that leads us towards the blood and the scratch marks. Yeah, go get him, boy. Fetch. And we managed to track down Nazan over to this corner. Daimao's choices are work on the TL gen, which has not very much progress, or maybe cross over towards the bus gen there. But whatever you're going to do, you got to do it quick because this chase doesn't look like it's going to last too long. Oh! Well, maybe not. I don't know. Maybe yeah, that's the end of it there. An eruption goes off. Do we see an aura? I didn't see an aura. Did you?
No aura. So the call came. I'm going down. Granted, it's not like that. It's not like Daemao went particularly far. Not the hardest survivor in the world to track down, but yeah, 4K3 going to be secured for Fasty. The streets were correct. The streets. Wow. I told you. I was calling them up. I was saying, yo, tell me about this Fasty guy. And the streets got back to me saying, yeah, he's nuts on Dark Lord. And it turns out he is nuts on Dark Lord. 4K3. I mean, Dark Lord's already a 4K1. esque killer, 4K2 arguably on this map with the agitation basement hook combinations, but 4K3 really is a cut above the rest. So big props to Fasti for that performance there. Honestly, even in the highest levels, even for the best killers that we have, balancing is generally to a point where, like, anything like 4K3 and above is considered a ridiculous result. So for Fasti, yeah, this is a ridiculously good killer result in the first 30 seconds, because DW has to get a crazy like double tap like insta kill with the Hellfire, maybe onto multiple survivors, in order for that 4K4 to be possible. DW, I'm sure spotted tech on that hill. Okay, eventually is going to track him down a bit further as well. But Tech is playing it very, very safe right now, making distance, running to the corrupt gen split, good instincts. Now you're here. DW making really good use of third-person canopy, looking over the tile. You watch the check spots guide, narrated by myself on DBDLeague's YouTube channel, and you would learn a thing or two about that, especially on Wreckers, where the tiles are so short. Unfortunately, Tech simply shamoned on him, which is an outplay of Gargantuan Porcelains and Shimon's the Hellfire as well. What would have been an absolutely clinical start for DW to slow down a little bit. It's still going to be a good first down, right? But good doesn't cut it against the kill performance that you just had.
I think that DW was looking through the crack in the tile, by the way, too. That was phenomenal. Like, could see slightly through the tile in the crooked long wall there. Regardless, I agree with what you're saying. That was a really good first down. But the problem is that let's say that, okay, we get the down. We now chase somebody off a generator over here. You know, the survivors don't have to worry about getting 5 gens done. They got to worry about getting 3 gens done to win it. So you're going to see, let's say we get 2 gens done for you know, the first hook or so, then they don't have to split up on multiple gens trying to get them all done. All they got to do is double up on 1 gen and take the chase to the opposite side of the map, and they're going to be in fine situations. So the unhook comes in on Tech again. Remember last match, we had the first hook on Francesco go to struggle. Good double pounce there on Drago. I don't want to count him out, man. I really don't, but we got a lot of work to do. We're going to fly around here. We're going to pull up the Hellfire, and yeah, we're just going to... I see... Okay, he hits it. I almost want to let go of Hellfire there and just push the M1, but you know what? It hits. If that misses, you're in big trouble. Thankfully, it didn't go. We're not going to be able to make a pain risk here, though. So, unfortunately, yeah, no agitation. We do have Call of Brine instead, which is a bit of an information perk and also a regression perk. So, hopefully that comes into play. But yeah, no agitation prevents that strong regression from pain risk. God, these pre-throws.
I mean, your pre-throw is also a decent count against the Hellfire, right? Provided that you are solidly out of the Hellfire range when the pre-throw, you can force it into a complete killer gamble. And again, it's not really a gamble that favors the killer. Oftentimes, DW was able to exert a little bit of pressure into Metox, but also, remember, lost the tunnel out in Tech. So, not fantastic. We have discovered the reset, however. Drago does a very good to miss that. Sorry, dodge that, I should say. We have Milston here to take a hit. Is going to be able to eat that one up, but is it going to really stop the advantage of DW? Depends if Drago is your bounce landing survivor or not. Is your bounce landing survivor? Certainly helps. So you also make Shack Pallet, and even though it's dropped, that's still some good distance made. Drago already running around Shack and connects it into a jungle gym as well. It's a really good setup that Drago has right now. DW has to do a lot of work to overcome it. Tie condition already met, so no win possible, unfortunately, for DW and the rest of Oboy. So another tie, another strange wager is going to be exactly what they're riding on.
So we're tied right now. This is where the trouble comes in. They haven't got rid of yeah, and we've got somebody hovering for the very quick unhook. We teleport away from basement, and now the unhook is going to come back in immediately. Actually, you know what would have been a huge heads-up play? I know we're in the danger of losing the game right now, but it would have been really interesting if we gone straight back to Shack, anticipating that quick unhook. But you know what? Milston took his time and waited for that hit to come in, so actually I respect it. I think that was the right move. The trouble is now, like I said, even if we manage to get a really quick down on Drago, all you need to do is have one of the last 3 survivors. This is if we get the tunnel out. Have one of the last 3 survivors take the chase far away from the other 2 doubling a generator, and you're done, right? And there's a ton of progress around the map as well. We did just hear an injured survivor. I think it was Drago, but I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, someone's in this corner, right? And DW is getting hit with pings all around, right? Pallet vaults, Call of Brine hits. Drago found here on the Z wall is going to get hit with a Hellfire. It's another eruption Call of Brine. I also don't believe that Drago has. I don't believe that Drago has fallen victim to a pain resonance yet either. So we're gonna see more regression come out. Yeah, we're gonna see more regression come out via that hook as well. I mean, it's. I don't even want to say it's easy or even doable, but DW is keeping a decent lid on these gens.
Good attempt there on the Hellfire. That Hellfire, missing a Hellfire can be so like it just loses so much momentum. If you hit it, it's so good, but if you miss it, it's so unfortunate. We're gonna get a lie. That would have been live out of Metalk, seeing as we know Drago had the bounce landing. But there's just so much pressure on multiple different generators right now. I said you could double up on a gen if you wanted to, but the survivors are actually playing this like you would play a normal match. They're just splitting up on 3 different gens around the map. Dracula can only be in one spot at a time. Normally this wouldn't feel so bad, knowing, okay, well, look, they got progress on multiple gens. I'll just get an injury on somebody and go from there. But we know we can't let any of these generators pop. We have interrupted, and there it is. I was going to say we've interrupted 2 of the generators, but there is a 3rd survivor. Metox is somewhere. Sorry, Milston was somewhere working on a generator, gets it done, and that is going to be the W for Team Aegis. And as I said, Aegis loves being behind. I would not be sure. Let me put it this way. If at the end of the day, was that a flashlight attempt? It was.
It's more like a meek flashlight request.
Throw a little sand in their eye.
No, it's okay. No, you don't want it. That's fine. That's fine. I'll go home. It was really nice talking to you.
At the end of the day, if we do have Aegis, if I would not be shocked if it goes Oboy Aegis, Oboy Aegis, Aegis, because I've seen Aegis do that so many times. You see some people get really like stressed out, or sometimes you get the pressure when you're under the gun, under elimination. Aegis thrives in that situation, and I'm really curious to see how it's going to play out.
Yeah, it means that we're going to be in for the long haul today, ladies and gentlemen. So I hope that you are getting your special fill of DBDLeague content. Of course, we have 2 matches today and 3 matches tomorrow, I believe, as well. So make sure that you tune in for the entire weekend. Drop a follow for DBDLeague if you haven't already. And in the meantime, enjoy the fact that Metox is now flat on the floor. More eruption procs, more Call of Brine procs around the map. It's just fantastic work from DW. It's exactly what I said, right? DW isn't a slouch. It's just like sometimes you get given, you know, a ridiculous performance you have to live up to. You know, you're like Michael Jordan, the actor, and you're told to go into a basketball court and play like Michael Jordan, the NBA player, and it's like, that's not my skill set, bro. This ain't what it's all about. You do a fine job, but certainly not the most that is expected of you, you know? Also, note there was the initial first down onto Tech, which was super quick, but then DW just lost the tunnel out. Obviously in a desperate situation, playing for freshes and playing to just cycle pressure isn't the worst thing in the world. But, you know, maybe Tech could have been... You never know, right? That's the problem. Maybe Tech could have been 2-tapped. Maybe you could have fought a greedy save onto him. You could have interrupted the heal. A million of things which would mean that Tech can die before the win con is achieved. Looking more at what we can find now, DW pouncing onto Tech, who just got reset, speaking of our former tunnel out, right? And then an injury onto Metox as well. I wonder if the survivors can actually complete all these generators, because they're certainly working at it, and we are seeing the Call of Brine and Eruption procs go off. Is it their greatest priority right now? Likely not, but they're actually split on 2 separate generators by the look of it. It's as if there's Call of Brine on one gen, and the Eruption Aura onto another one. So now with the rather late tunnel out onto Tech, not so much of a tunnel out, as more of a hole in a mountain out. Milson's going to get found, and you know the 4K is looking increasingly more imminent for DW.
Tech, I just want to throw this out there. I don't know if DW has the opinion or if it's the sort of. I don't know if Tech is like seen as a scary person to chase. Like he's good, but I don't know what's going on there. But man, Tech juiced up at the end of this match. Tech had some really good chases there. Was really working that rock tile with that that sort of like, I don't even know what everybody calls it, but I call it a bear claw tile. Did a really good job. Eventually went down, but yeah, really great chase by Tech. Maybe DW from the past couple games has decided, you know what, Tech is not the person I want to chase. It could have been also just circumstantial, right? We yeah, Nodders indeed. It could have just been circumstantial. It could have been, hey, we down Tech. Well, now they got pressure on these gens. Okay, I got to pressure this person off of this gen. That's really high. The hill gen was really high, and that's how we ended up chasing Drago. So there's a lot of things that can kind of throw you off of your tunnel game. Often it's best to go back to it, but there are occasions where it makes sense to switch it up. And I guess DW felt it was one of those occasions. Whether he could have done it if he continued to tunnel out on Tech is hard to tell, but at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. Aegis is going to win the set. They managed to get 4 generators done. Really good effort so far. DW trying to close out this match with a 4K1. Both survivors injured. Milson
really hates that pallet. Like, really hates that pallet. Like, screw you.
Yeah. I'm surprised he didn't, like, if he missed the survivor, I'm surprised it didn't auto him, like, to break the pallet with the pounce, but regardless.
Something about the angles.
Yeah, could be. That's fair. It's funny. I feel like I get auto locked onto those pallets when I don't want to. That time I felt like it was going to, and it didn't. I was like, all right, well, you know, the entity giveth and the entity taketh away.
That it does, my good friend Andrew. DW kind of just perusing now, seeing if anything else can be eked out close to the end here. Down onto Metox should follow a quick hook and then a down onto Milson as well. We're just playing for time right now. At least DW is continuing to practice because, again, not a slouch. 4K1 is the expected result on Dracula. You'd like to think that, you know, these results are a matter of the survivors and the killers and the players in general just continuing to get better. Milson actually
How did we
so
miss
hard,
that? How did we miss that swing?
Shimon.
That was wild.
If you were a man of culture, Andrew, you too would simply, if the kill's about to hit you, moonwalk in his face and dodge the hit.
I mean,
honestly,
I guess
for a player with your amount of hours, I can't believe that you don't know such a simple play like that.
Just the aura of Milson's moonwalk, it just reflected the swing, and you couldn't get by it anyways. Fun fact, almost 10,000 hours, I cannot moonwalk. That is going to be a 4K1. I don't want to talk about it. That's going to be a 4K1. Again, he's really strong. I will say this. I absolutely love it. I was wondering if we'd see that. I was wondering if we'd see Thanatophobia. Since it's so easy to injure people, there it is. Since it's so easy to injure people, Thanatophobia is some nice slowdown. The difference between the killer that I feel Thanatophobia is the strongest on is Plague, and that's because you don't ever want to heal versus Plague. That's not the case with the Ghoul. So let's see if we're ever going to get... I don't know if we're ever going to get 4 stacks, but we may. We'll have to wait and see how the survivors play it. Typically, great mind game there on the short side of that pallet gym, and we are going to get the down very quickly. I'm a little bit wondering... Yeah, like I was wondering if a flashlight was going to come out of the blind there, and looks like DW was concerned as well. Pretty quick down here. Going to take the Pain Res hook. The one thing about this map I wanted to say is because it's so open... Kaneki can get around the map so quickly, and you have such open sight lines. It's so easy to see the entire map. It's kind of, you know, there's not a whole lot of like big, tall structures blocking your line of sight, which means that Ghoul really has the advantage on a map like this. And as a result, yeah, we're gonna get a hit here on Milson as well as we continue our second chase.
You know, you're not. I don't think that like, quite took where he wanted, took him where he wanted it to go. Instead, he's going to come back to the hook at an awkward time as well. The problem is that, yeah, you can do that. So you know that endurance, you know that unhook protection that you had in Metox? You don't have that anymore. You suck. So now Metox is just going to have to do a straight up another chase with DW, with the stakes so high as to a single hit will spell utter disaster for you. Not
What?
quite landing the M1.
What?
That would have changed the game massively. Could have shocked the system, but instead, Meatok's going to be just fine. Tech's now here in order to take some attention off of Meatok. It's not really a hit. That's not really a practical thing to do against the Ghoul, but, you know, attention is fine as well. It means that Meatox was able to leave the shack without the pallet, is no longer so zoned out, but is still having to play Jungle Gym. Drops the pallet in order to just leave it. Ends up making it over to a filler. Wins a 50, wins another 50! Oh my god, Meatox is putting in a crazy performance right now. The survivors are taking their sweet time to reset during all of that. We take the vault. No, we don't take the vault! We carry on! Meatox is juicing right now!
I need to jump in here. Meatox has a resilience, and both of those vaults, I guarantee, were resilience vaults. That was a quarter second, like a millimeter away, and it's because Meatox has resilience and using it better than you could possibly imagine anybody using it. We're gonna get the vault here, drop down into the balance landing, but not quite gonna make it that time. Fantastic use of resilience there by Meatox, barely making both those vaults. I apologize for jumping in there, but I went and looked at I had to look at the player card here just to make sure. I'm sitting here going, that's gotta be resilience, right, Egdar? And it was.
And it is. Meatox obviously has a good chase, but, you know, at the end of the day, there are still 3 generators remaining. You're still against a very tough killer. You're still incredibly at risk of being tunneled out. DW finding another survivor near the shack. Again, this section of the map's been utilized for resources. The fact that Milston is an injured survivor isn't going to bode well for his future in this game, which is not a very long one. There is a brief window of opportunity because Meatox has just been unhooked, but isn't yet healthy, and we use the for the people. That's what I was thinking. That's what have been last minute thing. And you see that this causes DW to change plan completely. You know, that's the threat of healing the tunnel out. DW's like, well, I don't want that smoke. I'm gonna go return to Milston to get a pain res, because that's the kind of regression which I'm going to need, honestly. Also note that the heal onto note that the survivors are more than happy to have 3 stacks of fan, but not 4, right? 3 stacks you can work through. It's not really going to provide all that much opposition in the way of gen progression. When all of the stacks are there and you get that bonus regression from that, that's when you have a problem. But for now, provided that Meatox remains healthy, survivors are sitting quite pretty.
So yeah, I mean the regression is 2% per stack until you get everyone injured, and then you're at a full 20, which is the real danger of thanatophobia. Really interesting though. They did the for the people play. I think that's more about getting rid of Meatox's blood / cries of injury and whatnot, more that than actually keeping him alive, because you can injure people. You can injure it helps, but you can injure him so easily. But once he's healed, he can stealth away so much easier. And we didn't see either of the survivors. We saw no blood. We saw no scratch marks. We don't know where they did that for the people. Before the people comes in, Meatox could be hiding in a locker for all you know. So I think that's potentially why we turned back. And now we've got into this spreading hook situation. The only healthy survivor is Meatox right now, which is great, but also... Sorry, I'm just watching what's going on. Meatox doesn't want to be found for multiple reasons. If Meatox gets found, we're going to get into our last chase. And as soon as the injury comes in on Meatox, we're going to be sitting at a situation where they are doing gens 20% slower in that final chase as well. So far, though, doing a great job staying unseen.
Yeah, that doesn't even matter too much. This tech is healthy. The strange thing, and that's the problem that thanatophobia kind of brings to the table. It's a unique challenge, you know. Number one advice, you know, if you watch any guide, how do you play against Ghoul? How do you play against Leech? How do you play against Plague? The number one thing is don't heal. But that's always such an oversimplification, you know. It's like, yes, don't heal, unless you're dead on hook. Unless it's really necessary. Unless you need to work on it. You know what I mean? There's so many scenarios which you have to do it. That's kind of a problem that survivors are up with here as a nice intercept comes through. Means that Milston is also going to be dead on hook after this hook. But, you know, it forces survivors to think more about, you know, we can't just, you know, only heal the person for the unhook. You can see it right there. In most situations, there was no real reason for Tech earlier to be healed up. But they did it anyway, because otherwise it would have kind of caused a chain reaction, and then you would have had the full Thanatophobia regression going off. DW is proving to be a bit of an evil lad right now, but yeah, you know this gen is decently progressed, and you know that you can overlook the hook as well.
I think DW thinks that Metox is over there. I think that's what that was. Looks like that was Drago there. We got the enrage on Drago, but not the injury. Milston gets the unhook. Yeah, I think he thought either Metox was over there or just whoever was on the generator. Everyone's healthy, trying to sniff out somebody who's near the unhook. As a result, the stealth works though, so as a result, we aren't able to get that. We are going to continue our sort of tunnel out here on Milston. Now that we're on the second of our tunnel outs, really nice pallet connected here. We're going to see a third generator pop. Can we rotate around? Good. A little bit of a delay fake there, like we were going to vault, and it didn't happen. So Milston is going to go down. We are going to go down to the 3v1 with 2 generators left. We had a lot of progress around the map, but not... but we're still in... both teams are in good shape right now. Both teams are in good shape. Looking like we're trying to find... And there... Oh, no. It's Metox. It's Metox. We know Metox has balance, and yeah, look, DW nodders. We got the other generator done. Yeah, I think that we know that tunneling Metox out is a good idea, but for now, we got to make sure that last gen doesn't pop.
DW has like a vague... never mind, no, he has a 3-gen. Okay, DW just straight up has a 3-gen. I always like to cope when I see a 3-gen, being like, no, guys, it's not... No, this is a 3-gen. Okay, well... get your camping chairs out, ladies and gentlemen. Pull up some popcorn and a nice cold beer, because we are setting up shop within this 3-gen, pitching a tent, so to speak. And, I mean, the eruption certainly helps you control. It's not like you have Call of Brine either, but, you know, for the survivors, when you can get injured so easily, it's not as simple as, oh, we'll just send your healthy survivors in. Because your healthy survivors, trust me, are not going to stay healthy particularly long. Plus, we're in a 3v1 anyway. And I think that at the highest level, survivors can always break a 3-gen in the 4v1, no matter how hard it is. In the 3v1, that completely flips, and the killer will hold a 3-gen, even if both sides playing at their highest levels.
I really love what DW just did there. DW... kicked the generators that had progress. The survivors are over. The survivors are getting ready to tackle this 3-gen. They just got out. Everybody healed up, and well, they were healed up. DW took a second to run over and break that really strong pallet setup over by the tower there, the mine tower. And now those are no longer. Now that's a pretty big dead zone. The only pallet over in that area is down in the mine itself. So I really like that he took the time to go do that. I know ghouls don't like to kick too many pallets because they can play. You know, they can play around them pretty easily, but getting rid of those makes it just a dead zone for any killer. So really, really good play there. That body, I know. I thought it was a person.
I keep thinking it's Milston.
I know.
I keep thinking it's Milston.
It looks like a Lara, man. It looks like a Lara in her teal shirt. Anyways, all right. Looking around. Yeah, I like the setup here. Obviously, what we're probably going to see is a lot of resets, or at least when somebody's injured, running as far away from as possible, but... DW is just spamming the power there, trying to entice people. Okay, come over into my web, please.
Incremental progress, passive income. That's what the survivors are going for, I guess. And also, like, they're just risky gens to work on as well. You know, like tech. Okay, where do you go? Like this pallet? Sure, man. Just see how well that does you. And all the survivors are split on every gen because they just need to try and make some kind of dent in it. But that means that progress is going to be super, super slow. Drago eventually forced to vault, but has the life, able to get away. Good distance, you know, if you make clever enough use of those resources, then that's how you can survive against someone as dangerous as the ghoul.
So the challenge here is, attacking all 3 generators means that the killer's is drawn in 3 different directions, but it also means that you're not getting a ton of progress on one generator. Like, a lot of times you'll see a 2-1 split. That was a very ambitious swing through a pallet. They would have been zoned to edge map if we'd thrown it. But yeah, you do see the killer pulled in 3 different directions, but you get less total gen progress. But they have quite a bit of progress going on here. Now, the challenge as well for DW is we can't play this forever. We cannot do this. I think we're looking for somebody. I think they ran all the way to Shaq. We can't do this forever. Not only are we down to do we only have 8 kicks on each generator? We also have eruption. So even if we do get a down, unless that leads into a slug into a 4K right there, every eruption is going to be an additional regression event. So DW is in a pretty good spot with this 3-gen, but the survivors are doing a good job tackling it, and we're going to run out of kicks if we don't get a down in the near future. So, I mean, this looks like bait. Is it not?
Oh yeah,
No.
Tech is just. Oh yeah, Tech is presenting himself as a target here. Just be like, hi, look at me, please. Actually able to make distance away. Had use of exhaustion there in order to do that. I'm trying to think what that would be. Possibly a 99 sprint burst or something.
I think that must have been
along
it.
those lines. Point is, the survivors are still grinding out these gens. They're making surprisingly good progress in them. I think that the gen that Metox is working on, the one kind of close to the middle of the map, is the quote-unquote safest one, as it's far away and you can connect it into main building if you pre-run quickly enough. Significantly less safe now that that pallet is gone as well. But yeah, the survivors are just eking out their regression events. You know, they're making small but noticeable wins. But yeah, Drago's been cut off and is going to go down. And look at this eruption proc. Ba 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 ba! That's disgusting.
So that's 10% off of every generator. In addition to, we're about to get a pain res. We're about to get a pain res. I had to think for a second. We're about to get a pain res here.
It's good that you do that, Andrew. Proud of you.
Sorry.
It's good that you do that, Andrew. Think. I'm very proud of you.
I was like I was trying to find on the screen. I couldn't find Drago's name on the HUD there. I was like, I think this is for Sook. Yeah, it is. Okay. But again, they got the unhook down. Oh, uh-oh.
DW's gonna break out of it, so it's fine. And Metox has been unhooked as well. Yeah, well, we've seen the unhook as well. Sorry, not onto Metox, onto Drago, I should say. Survivors are going to try and make some distance right now. Of course, DW don't want to make it that easy for him. Can Metox survive here? No, you're dead on hook. Even if you buy enough time for Tech and Drago to reset, you know, you're still in a bit of a predicament. Maybe Tech and Drago just need to try and double up the final gen, you know, for the win con.
I'm curious about this pickup. Like, dying down here is about as far away from the generators as you can get. Picking up, oh, my heart is sinking right now. If they're on that generator by Shaq, they might get it.
Keep our ears out. Keep our ears out.
No.
Nah,
close.
It's not even that close. No, I wouldn't even say it's that close. You know what I mean? It's better than nothing. It's about 70% or so, but so I forced off anyway. You know, if you weren't breaking the 3-gen and 3v1, you sure as hell ain't doing it in the 2v1. We'll put it like that. So now DW can just wait, scout, see if anyone's crossing, and then maybe get. You getting a bit creative here? Is that what we're seeing? You try and go for the vault onto Drago, unsuccessful. So instead, you know, return back to the gen split. I feel like you can take your foot off the gas in a scenario like this, but Tay and Drago have to reset each other, or they are screwed.
There's the answer to your question, by the way. Was it sprint burst earlier? It very clearly was. It looked like it was a 9-9 sprint burst that time earlier, but yeah, very clearly our Lori here is. We're gonna get a swing through here on the belt. Wow, I am shocked that didn't hit, but that was everything in Drago's tool belt, because that was our lithe. We have nothing else to get us out of this. Well, I don't know. No, we're not gonna make that. We're not gonna make that, right? Okay. Drago goes down, and now Drago. Oh my God! Get out of here! Get out of here!
No! He didn't time. He missed the timing, dude. What do you mean you missed the timing? You're in the winter circuit. What's going on?
My jaw's on the floor. I'm shocked. I'm like, no way you get a flashlight save. Wait, no, I was right. You didn't get a flashlight save. That's so sad. I mean, let's be realistic here, Egdar. They weren't getting out of that. But that's what a silly end to a great match. It was hilarious end to a great match.
It's as we've said. I'd be surprised if Fasty wasn't able to get it done. It seems like the teacup is a pretty mandatory add-on for the ghoul that is going to increase your movement speed while you leap. And we also go with the Bloodstained Handkerchief as well to increase the range of those leaps, so just making the leap better. Force Penance, that's an interesting one. I'm guessing the concept of protection hits is something that Fasti is acutely aware of and wants to prevent as much as possible. So it's not going to be direct slowdown. Always a bit of a risk because, well, slowdown is as slowdown does. You know, it's your direct way of winning, I suppose. But if Force Penance can get you that level of value, especially because it's not going to be known until the first time it's procced, then maybe the survivors can make best use of that. But also, generally, people are injured for a lot of the game against a ghoul.
Yeah. I don't know how I feel about that pick, and maybe there's something I'm not. Maybe Fasti has some kind of like some thought process behind it. Obviously, you're gonna be that, but I feel like there's so many better perks you could pick. If somebody takes a protection hit while you're trying to tunnel somebody out, they run off injured and work on a generator. If somebody takes a protection hit without Force Penance, they run off and work on a generator injured. Like I don't really understand there. Regardless, though, that's enough speculation. I'm going to trust Fasti knows what the heck he's doing. We are really struggling to find our first chase here. We went and patrolled the generators, didn't find anything. The survivors are either very, very stealthily working on those generators right now. After, you know, let Fasti, it's that old trick of like, let the killer come patrol the generators, and then the moment they leave, jump on the gens. Hopefully that's what the survivors have done. I mean, look, you've got some progress there. Fasti doesn't realize that generators are being worked on. He's thinking that they're stealthing out the gens, stealthing out the corrupt intervention, and I mean, they're getting quite a bit of gen progress done here without even having seen a survivor yet. This is a very bad start, unfortunately, for Team Aegis' killer. Like, we had a down last time, right?
The stealth is working. Right, you know, the ghoul will inevitably snowball. That's kind of in his nature. You know, based off the
especially on Ormond.
Even if the first chase, Andrew was sending you to the labyrinth of eternity.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
But even if you start a chase now, it's gonna be like, okay, cool. Well, you know, there's still so much progress on these gens that it's just like a crazy. It's just a crazy time start anyway.
They have so much progress for free. Looks like we may have found res here. Yeah, we finally found res, but they have so much progress for free. Nazan's going to finish their generator. Shaq has a ton of progress. I don't know if that's the one Nazan was on or if he was on a different one. But now we're going to get our first injury in when a generator completes. That's crazy. That was a really, really smart play by the survivors. They did what I said, by the way. They did the sort of wait for him to patrol the generators, then jump on the generators, and then it looked like they had... I don't know if Francesco was waiting to get on a generator nearby, but it almost looked like Francesco was sitting there actively like being the spotter. You know what I mean? Like, all right, he's in the mine. He went down in the mine. Okay, now he's headed towards Shaq. Hard stealth early. Like, that's what it felt like. And maybe that's what we saw. Because you now see Francesco is doubling this generator. No, I'm sorry. Francesco's on their own generator. Dude, they had so much
Francesco
progress.
and Nazan on separate gens.
Wow.
Realistically, only one of these is going to be interrupted, so we're going to have 2 gens done only by the first hook stage. And main building's 50% as well. Math is cranking that one out with Deja Vu. Also, makes sense, has the balance landing. I think you want to... It's quite near the hook, so it's going to be a risky decision. Honestly, I would prefer if Mathis just runs, takes distance with the balanced, and someone else can come for the unhook. Honestly, even if Reds goes to second stage, I genuinely think you have enough gen progress to make that worth it, you know? There are going to be quite a lot of people drawn over to this side of the map, however. Mathis down the bottom side. It's just a case of changing your priorities, right? You know, Mathis is injured, but you can still work a distant gen, that's fine. Nazan can now safely get this unhook off, and possibly even have the time to heal res, depending on what Fasti's next actions are. And then you have all the gen progress in the world, and no possible tunnel out.
Fasti is spreading a lot of damage around the map, which is really good. Great continuation here. I believe Rez is still going to have borrowed time, so we're going to have to wait, or built-in endurance, rather. We're going to have to wait for this hit. Probably getting down to the bottom of the... Yeah, the timer's over now. Playing this not great palette. Great heads-up play there by Rez. Yeah, Fasti's spending a lot of damage around the map, but they have so much gen progress. I don't know if it's going to be enough. We'll have to wait and see. We're going to see our second down here on map. There's some eruptions go off around the map. again, this Force Pendant, I don't know what you could have taken instead of Force Pendants. Maybe Call O'Brien like we saw last time. Like there
Exactly,
were
Call
opportunities,
O'Brien,
right? So like, yeah, some stuff to get some more regression. That main building generator got regressed from what 75 down to like 40. It would have been even more with Call O'Brien, right? So I don't know. Anyways.
Off at the office regardless. We're going to have to see exactly what can be done here. Injury through the pallet onto Nazan, and a quick little blind as well. Survivors have to be careful now, because no way he actually gets the stun there. I was going to say, I thought Nazan was, you know, dead in the dirt completely, but no, they're able to unhook res. Every survivor injured. I mean, it is kind of what I said before. You do that. You do a lot of that against a ghoul, stay injured, right? But sometimes it's just the super risky play to go for. You know, main building gen popped. We have some extra progress on another one being picked up. Res still running. You know when the survivor is even making the TNL wall seem like an impossible burden to deal with. That's when you're a bit cooked, right? Fassy's able to get through it eventually. So you have your tunnel out, but you don't have any extra regression on account of the pain res.
So, one dead with 2 gens left. That's not the worst situation to be in. Fossey has definitely... Okay, looks like they might be... Yeah, they're going to reset in main building here. Get that second wind you can see is charging up. I think that's the main reason for the reset here. Nazan is on a generator, which is kind of sketchy. Usually you don't want to be working a generator while... particularly injured, while they're doing a reset. But never mind, we interrupted the reset. Looks like Nazan is free to finish that generator. But we do get it down on Francesco. Oh, and that's near the generator that Nazan is on. Nazan is on this corner generator, but that's going to be... Oh, not quite the angle, and we're not going to get that. Nazan got off the generator, and as a result, I believe we're going to potentially...
Mathis, what is happening?
I don't know what that was about. I thought... Okay, I don't know what that was about. Maybe trying to get a head on here? I don't know. Regardless, Pain Res came in. Nazan is probably going to finish that generator, but now it's been regressed quite a bit. If Mathis goes down quick here and Nazan sticks the generator, I don't know if he gets it done in time. That's a balanced landing. Okay, maybe that's enough.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of distance at Mathis.
He's sticking the gen.
Yeah, Nazan's sticking the gen. This is odd, because this kind of suggests to me that you're playing for WinCon, right?
Oh my goodness,
for the tie. But it means that you're playing for the tie, and I really think that Oboy could have done better. So now they have to, I feel like there's the opportunity to play that a bit safer, you know, get the reset earlier, get the unhook on Francesco earlier, because Nazan sure ain't doing anything right now, you know, even if you unhook Francesco and Francesco's second wins, Fassy's going to be hot on their heels the whole time. It's not going to do much of anything, right? So you kind of intentionally played around, oh, we can tie here. I thought it was winnable. I genuinely think this was winnable for Oboy. But it's not going to happen regardless. We're going to go on to yet another tiebreaker.
Maybe they got nervous. Look, there are definitely situations in this game where you go for the win and you lose the tie. Man, Nazan just a laser beam with that flashlight. Crazy, get 3 blinds in a row. Yeah, there are situations where often you will go for a win and you wind up getting a tie. And I think that Aegis wanted to... Sorry, I think that Oboy wanted to just secure the tie, get it done and move on. But I definitely agree that based on how this match started, there definitely was a world where I was gonna say there was a world where they could definitely win it. As a result, that's gonna be a 4K1. And you know, if anyone's joined in since we've done the Freddy match, let's talk about it again. We will be going to our Armageddon style tiebreaker. Both teams will make a wager on how good of a result they can get on Survivor. Whichever team wagers the better win condition will play Survivor, and will need to match or beat that win condition, and the killer will need to do better than the stated win condition. We saw this in the first match with Freddy, where Team Aegis had a very ambitious wager. Let's see if they maybe do a little bit more realistic this time.
The power of Aegis to be able to achieve quite a difficult result. Now, survivors and killers are able to change their builds going into the tiebreaker set, and DW making an adjustment here. No longer with what was it that DW had? It was either the Force Penance or the Call of Brine. Instead, has a or the Thanatophobia, I should say, has a Surge instead now. So I mean, all your downs are going to be M1s. It's not a terrible perk. Surge is odd because the main problem is that it fell off a lot when Gen Kick limits came into effect. So we get near miss onto Drago. And eventually forced to take the Vault in a bad spot, so it's a pretty good first down from DW. Number one, it's, you know, temperamental. If you're on a side of the map where the gens just aren't happening, aka this one right here, Surge did nothing. Okay, useless regression, cool, man. But also, when you're dealing with regression events, oftentimes it can tick them up a bit too much. You know, you have to be quite aware of those events as a killer now. And Surge will often be able to get events on, you know, a gem with like 1% progress that over the course of the match could prove to be a problem, especially with Eruption. I know that part of me is sounding like, waiter, my lobster is too buttery and my steak is too juicy. You know, I have too much regression. But it is a genuine problem that you can run into with Surge.
We've had some weird, that one's through a wall. We've had some weird near misses there. DW missed, I believe it was Drago behind main early on in the match. It might have been Tech actually. But we were missing some of these Kagune leaps where we didn't quite get the bite, and happened again there on Milston. But then we got it through the wall, through the window there, so we got that one there. I agree with you entirely about Surge. Surge, I think, like, okay, it's a positive when you get a down and it automatically regresses all the generators around you. Fantastic. That's a great situation.
Convenient.
Looks like we're, yeah, it's convenient. Looks like we're going to take a chase here on the Cheryl. Sorry, losing my train of thought. Potentially getting a bite here. We do get a bite. But yeah, I mean, the problem with that is if you regress a generator that somebody else is on, it's only 8%. So you get an 8% regression, and then you've used up one of your regression states when it could be, you know, when you combine that with Pop and Eruption, sorry, not Pop and Eruption, when you combine that with the regular kick and Eruption, then you're eating through your regression events. Now, that's not to say that we won't get any value, so we'll have to wait and see. Good blind here on Milston. Drago got away from that unhook, by the way. Unhooked, healed, safe, and sound. We're on a fresh hook here, so we're going to be spreading around some damage, spreading around some hooks. We are once again, yeah, we've had some weird, unfortunate bounces here. DW was really clean in his first match. This match, we seem to be losing out on a few of those. Oh my goodness, great plays here by Milston, but finally does double vault and is going to go down. So we see some eruptions go up. We should see another pain res come in, but survivors are doing pretty good right now. Maybe, I don't know, maybe we were too judgmental before the match.
They do need gem progress though. Right now they are sorely lacking it. DW needs someone dead. Obviously you have your pick of the litter now, Milston or Drago, but it's still a relatively thin number of people, only 2 that you can go for. Ideally Drago would have been the second hook, and then you have your target right there painted in red for you, but instead DW is going to have to get a bit creative here. Again, just not really. The survives are doing a much better job at playing the terrain and breaking line of sight as much as humanly possible. You're able to do that. You can force some awkward movement and some kind of strange like hits from the ghoul. Even if they charge a Kagune leap, if you don't take an immediate injury, that's still fine, to be honest. You know, you make some distance and go on with that. Metox is actually here, looking like Hit Tank World ends up taking a Kagune mark and buying some distance for Drago.
Interesting though, this is, I feel like, a worse tile than the one we were at, so we took the distance to come to this tile. Well, you know, we're playing this 4 lane pretty well. Swing, never mind. Absolutely cursed Drago. Swing through and gets hit here. I guess dying in this corner is a better place to die because we're far away from the generators. We can see a reset coming in across the map there. Was that it? How do we have that aura? Oh,
who doesn't have that aura?
Yeah, fair. Anyways, second hook on Drago. Everybody injured. Oh, the blind doesn't come through. I was going to say another laser beam to the eyes, but the blind doesn't come through. So Milston, I mean, we're doing the same thing. We saw this in one of the Freddy matches where we kind of spread out 2 tunnel outs, and we're kind of doing the same thing. Oh.
Another consideration I'd make, right? Remember that DW isn't necessarily playing for kills. It's playing for stages. Now, granted, it's an odd number, 11 stages. So, essentially the kills. But it doesn't... Provided that someone dies at some point soon, it's not a big deal. Dracula actually runs into DW there. I don't believe that's your balanced survival.
Oh,
and we get the hit there! Just about. Absolute disaster now. DW is going to get this hook. It's going to be a kill. And now life is looking good on the other side for DW. He's like, I'm living the dream right now. This is fantastic.
Another gen pop. So we're down to 2 generators left. Everybody's injured. This progress on this generator is very high. We know that this is where our Lara player, Milston, I believe. Yeah, Milston was playing. Wow.
Ooh.
Okay, okay.
Ooh.
No, this is actually... Wow, I'm actually shocked. The survivors of Aegis really did say, hold my beer. This is actually working out really in their favor. I think this generator has the most progress, but there could be more progress around the map too. We're gonna have to go check these generators. They're not miles apart from each other, but it's not as tight a 3 gen as we saw in Oboy's first killer match. Oh, this is close. This is a very close match here, Egdar. We need to find... There's the blood. Yeah, we need to get it down here. Unfortunately, though, Milston is not the pain res. So, oh, this is not Milston. This is our sprint burst tech.
Yeah, okay, this is, yeah, no, this is actually getting rather intense, I would say. Especially because we've been able to cut through the tile like butter, find tech. Now DW has somewhat of a read as to where these other survivors are. Even if you don't have a read, they're injured and they're going to be relatively simple to track down on account of that. And we were able to get Milston here at the pallet. Milston makes as much distance as is humanly possible, and DW patrolling the gens as well. This one is very close to being done, but again, it's not just about completing the gens. If it were that simple, honestly, the survivors would have just bum rushed to the final gen at this point, stacked on it with no regard for their safety. But that's not what they're doing. They need to get the outs on top of that as well. Even if it's just 2 stages, it's still something, right? DW is making that more and more untenable as time goes on.
That's a really good point. Yeah, in a lot of situations like this, like if you were just going for win condition, get the last gen done. Oh, we get 4K0. 4K0 isn't good enough. They have to get 2 hooks out the gate. So that's a really, really heads up notice there from you. We are trying to get down. Tech goes into the locker. Okay, so Milston's got to be rotating around to save Metox. The alternative is maybe slamming the generator. No, okay, like slamming the generator, I feel like you're just killing yourself, right? So that's going to be a hook on tech. I don't know whether it was a pain res yet. Probably, but I don't know if that hook over there was a pain res. It was not a pain res. Important to note, I don't know whether that was pain res, if that was Scourge Hook RNG, or if it was purely a choice, but we saved our pain res on tech. Just keep that in mind for later.
DW now looks to be in a bit of a commanding spot, right? You know, all it takes is survivors to slip something under his nose and it's a problem, but, you know, you have all your gens located on one side of the map. All the survivors are injured, and you can continually cycle the injuries onto them. It's just a desperate spot to be in, right? Honestly, the 10-stage win con call wasn't a horrible call considering the survivor performance. I think it's just a little bit too much of a burden to bear.
So Tech did have the second win, so that's why Tech is the only healthy survivor at this moment. There is a pallet not too far away. Can we cut it off? No, this pallet's not great, but it's not bad either. Is there not a pallet here? There's a pallet over here. Wow, lots of stuff going on here. This is very winnable. How did that not swing through? And that's going to be all the generators done. And Tech is in, sorry, DW is in trouble.
Remember that this is Oboy's pick as well, right? This is the one that they need to win. Currently on the board, 5 stages that DW has. 1 kill simply isn't going to cut it right now. 2 survivors get out the door, and that is curtains on Oboy in this series, or not in this series, but in this set, right? Time is continuing to tick down for DW. The gates are going to continue to get progressed, and all it takes 2 survivors leaving right now, and that's all you need. And what a crazy...
Any 1 survivor out the door right now is the win, right? So
yeah,
there it is.
Would be any survivor, and that's me, Tox. Yep. Milson's not going to be too far behind, and they actually pull it off. Their 10 stage, their weird pipe dream, they threw it in from a distance. They were on the moon trying to make a free throw, and it swished. That is crazy work, and I mean, crazy play from Aegis. Now they have all the momentum in the world going into their own pick, which is Artist.
However, this map is quite large, but doesn't have the benefit of that tight sort of pinch in the middle, the bottleneck in the middle that you find on Azerov's and Suffocation Pit. So very interesting map. I've liked the matches we've seen on Artist so far. We see a few scratch marks here by main building, and Fasty is going to start our first chase against Nazan. Fasty looking to end Oboy's tournament right here. Let's see what we can pull off here. It looks like the first M1's going to come through.
Note how we're going to see the survivors and killers play against this. Everyone knows the counterplay. You hold forward, right? As the killer, you have some amount of agency here. You know, you can fake the birds from a distance. You can do your best to just pull them up in chase, force the survivor to move, and then catch them eventually. Obviously, loops exist for a reason, right? Hold W forever isn't a perfect strategy, because eventually you're going to have to loop something. And the killer can take advantage of this and actually cut you off between the loops. Sure, you're not fast, but you're still regular movement speed. You're still faster than the survivor. You can eventually catch up to them. It's a very early first down from Fasty, and utilizing the agitation to get a pain resonance off as well is strong work. Comms from the survivors are also going to be crucial, especially with the severed hands, right? Being hit on a gen with birds is a big problem, and Damao hit with one of those, so now Fasty will send a couple of shots over that way, even if it's just passive, right? You know, the fact that you'll have to go to a locker, hop in it, and then get off. The fact that, you know, you're going to have to briefly get off the generator in order to even dodge the birds, right? You have such a unique amount of map control on Artist that few other killers can really rival, which means that yeah, you can be content to camp out Nazan here.
Yeah, so we managed to find, we have Rez and Daimao on generators. We saw Francesco was the one trying to cross the map. Unfortunately, it took a little bit longer to cross the map than they probably would have hoped, and as a result gets sniffed out by our killer. We're going to see the first generator pop, but Nazan is almost definitely, in fact, is definitely going to go to second. So that will be 2 hooks for the price of a gen and a half. That's looking pretty strong for Fasty so far. This is what you want to see if you are an Aegis fan. We have just dry kicks here on these generators. We don't have any eruption. We don't have any Call of Brine. We've only got, the only regression we have is Pain Res. We have a couple of utility perks in Agitation and, of course, Rapid Brutality. Very concerned a little bit about these generators. Now, the thing about Family Residence is you can pretty much count on a 3-gen down by the main building, like you can see right here. Interesting that Rez is coming here to work on this generator rather than maybe crossing over for the save. You see Francesco picked up on Daimao's generator, which means Daimao is probably converting. There it is. Traveling across the map for that unhook. Daimao is going to maybe try and get a heal off, but you got to be careful. You never know when birds are coming in. Second gen does pop. But if we can't get Nazan out of this bottom end of the map, we're going to be having a 3v1 with a very strong 3-gen down by main building. And Oboy is going to have a heck of a time getting out of the situation.
We intercepted Daimao. Of course, that's not the target that we care about. It's Nazan. We have to find him. We call that he's in one of the lockers. Is that called correct? No, I seem to have been baiting a head-on or something like that. We're able to track down Rez. Still not really good enough, you know. It's not what you want. It's not your ideal target. Even if you get the down, I mean, you're not going to say no to a pain Rez. Never look a gift horse in the mouth and all that. But it's far from ideal, you know. And we see the double reset, full resets actually coming out onto Nazan. So Nazan's going to be able to live for a bit longer. And again, it's not like it's a super simple task. Oh, we get a stray crow onto Daimao, however. Has to hop a locker, spotted in the act. And so maybe there's some knowledge, like, okay, well, a reset just happened, and I caught Daimao on the flip side of that, so the survivors have to be around here somewhere, right, guys? Right, guys? Unless they've just already sprinted the hell away.
Well, it was a very fast reset, and that bird came in just after that happened. So, yeah, Frosty definitely knows that they're nearby. Oh, my goodness. Crouching, so those birds did not give a killer instinct. This is very important. If Nazan can stealth this out, just crouch by that window near the back of the building. If we can stealth this out, and it looks like we might. If I were if I were Team Oboy, I would be trying to get Nazan the heck out of that 3-gen and go work on the gens down the other end of the map. That way, if the chase comes in, the team can be working on the generators in the 3-gen by the main building, and if not, then you get free gen progress from your Death Hook survivor down the other end of the map. I gotta imagine that's what Nazan is doing right now. We're just gonna be pressing W here. Rez did a pretty good job of getting out of those three loops, and we're like, that's fine, I'll go to a fourth one. How long are we gonna be able to last on this one? Doing a pretty good job. Yeah, but now the unfortunate thing is those birds did time out. And now, okay, well, we ran through the bird, which is what you want to do. Playing really smart here. Wow, using a lot of time. Really, really well played by Rez.
And gets rid of the birds as well. Fasty is fumbling like crazy right now. Oh, God. Man, oh, man. Okay, what's going on here? Eventually, you're going to catch Rez on the flip side here. But yeah, 2 gens gone. Tunnel out alive. Nowhere to be spotted. Hotel Trivago, you know what I mean? Like this is... That was a perfect chase from Rez and perfect coordination from Oboy. Just locking in at the last second, inexplicably.
Oh, good find there, Dumb. They cracked the 3-gen. Now, this middle gen is close-ish to main building, so it's not the worst gen split in the world, but that was definitely an insane chase by Rez. Really well played. Definitely put Oboy back in the game after forcing Nazan to go to struggle on the first hook. This is a huge recovery from Team Oboy. This is what you want to see if you want to see them have the opportunity to take this to the fifth match. Fifth set. Timeout. Hops in the locker. And wow, I'm shocked. That almost looked like it would be damage. I think the birds might have been too close to the pallet, potentially. Good snipe there, though. And we're going to see a fresh hook here on Daimao. At this point, we're playing for stages here, Egdar, aren't we? Like, we're looking for some fresh stages, looking to try and get as many stages as possible and get some pain reses, right?
Which is tough, because this was very 4K runnable with the tunnel out onto Nazan. Sometimes it's the issue with artists lack of mobility, right? You know, you're on a Blight, Billy, Nurse, all that stuff. Well, you return right back to that hook like it's nobody's business, you know? If you're artist and you've gone over to the other side of the map for some pressure, provided that you don't hit the instant bird off the hook, then the survivors can just get away from you. And that's what they tend to be doing right now. And Fassi is very much just prioritizing the freshers here. You know, Francesco would be a solid hook here. You could obviously camp it to accrue a couple more stages. You could try and punish any endgame machinations and thoughts of altruism with the rapid brutality, and you could get punched in the face by Jake Park. That works too.
That was such a heads-up play, head-on play. They're getting the last generator done, and Rez wants to die for Francesco here. Rez wants to die for Francesco. We're not at the point of worrying about tunnel outs. We're at the point of worrying about stages. Rez wants to die so that we keep the fresh hook, we keep the extra 3 hooks away, and we just offer the 1 hook instead. The bird hit does come in on Rez, but Rez can still fully go down. Yeah, I was going to say, Rez can just die for Francesco. Nazan is healthy as well, so you got to imagine you're going to see maybe Nazan come in and maybe try and take a hit here again for Francesco. The birds have been applied. Dire Crows swarming Francesco. We are one bird away, and we're going to take the birds here. Like I said, here comes Nazan to tank the hit. You got to imagine Daimao is on one of these doors. Can the three of these guys get out? Francesco still has birds attached. Gets the birds off. This isn't going to... Sorry, does not get the birds off. Now does. We need to cycle back to some kind of door. The doors are far away from where we're at right now. We've got Rez still on the ground. Just got picked up. This is so close here, Egdar. They're going to want to rally back and try and get Francesco out of here.
I just feel like Francesco's horribly zoned in the corner of the map, and yeah. Now that Farsi has the agitation, right, you're going to make this hook as awkward as possible. And honestly, right here, yeah, why not?
We're in the most awkward spot.
Yeah, the survivors will reset, and they will be trying for a save here. Because otherwise you would just give over 3 extra stages to Francesco, and then what would be a 6-stage game, very winnable, turns into like an 8-stage, and that's not a risk you're necessarily willing to take, right? Now
They're
Fasti
miles
is going
from the door, though.
Oh yeah, that, and you have the rapid brutality, and you're harassing only with the birds. The problem is, artists can't inherently stop an unhook or threaten it something like a Bubba or a Billy or something. You do have the rapid brutality, as I said earlier, to deal with altruism. So, you know, hit comes through from Rez, and we're actually not going to take that down. We're going to look for a juicier target in Daimao.
This is the move, because if you just take... what they want to do is they want to sacrifice Rez. That's what they want. We have to dodge this bird. We're going for one bird. We're zoned. Yes, this is exactly what you want if you're Fossey. You don't... What they wanted to do was give Rez away. They wanted Rez to be gone for free, and you trade one hook for 2, and you're good. They are running in, trying to stop the hook, but they're going for that pain rest hook in the corner. But unfortunately, they didn't see this one over here. At this point, you got to get out, you guys. You are not... You're not losing anything. Like, at this point, they haven't gained anything. Right? Yeah, they haven't gained anything. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, and Fasti's recovering fantastically right now. You know, has been dealing with the altruism well. In these super awkward unhook situations, of course, Fasti maybe has to be a bit paranoid of a potential flashlight, firecracker play, anything like that. It's just Nazan left here, hiding in the corner, spotted out, and I don't believe that you're going to be able to get a pick up onto Rez. Force him out of the door just so you can secure that final stage. But yeah, on the scorecards, that's pretty good, all things considered. I believe it's going to be, let's see here, 8 total stages accrued for Fasti. Not bad, considering the late game scenario he was put in, but also you look at his early game, you think, well, this guy should have been 4K.
That was a very back and forth. Yeah, 8 is definitely a good result. So just to play it out there, the survivors did not gain. Just can they pull off saving their tunnel out the same way Oboy did? If not, this might be a different game. Interesting gen split here. Again, 3 by main building, and the 4th one is, again, about the same as it was last time. So both gen splits for both teams, very similar. So definitely as far as RNG goes, the entity wants to see a nice clean match here.
We also spotted with a crow. DW's found a juicier target instead. I believe it's Fasti trolling around this main building. Could be wrong. Point is, survivor's been found regardless. So DW bringing along a relatively similar build. Yeah, is Fasti. The only difference is the ruin here, right? This can pay off gangbusters, or it can get cleansed within the first few seconds, and then all of a sudden it's like, well, what was I even doing bringing this in the first place? You know what I'm saying? So early hit comes out onto Fasti, who is going to take this chase all the way down to the bottom side, which is a little strange, because this is not the corrupt gen split. You would much rather have them within the corrupted gens. You do make it to Shack, however. You're able to get an early drop. I'm just in fear that at some point Fasti is going to be forced to take the chase into, you know, right where all of the gens are. And we even get the hit through the wall at the Shack as well, meaning Fasti's not long for this work.
I was gonna say that bird was too close to the window. This is the mechanic. Wow, good dodge. This is the mechanical part that you were talking about. that bird was too close to the window, so it wound up going through the wall instead of shooting through the double back, and that's why Fossey took the bird instead of the damage. So the chase lasted long enough to prevent the pain res from coming in. DW says, I don't need pain res. I'm going to take a basement hook here. During that first chase, by the way, I had a comment I was going to make about Ruin, but forget it. Doesn't matter. Ruin did, in fact, go down. So irrelevant perk. We aren't going to see... Basically, we've got the same build we had last time, except we do not have agitation. We're going to send some birds out here. Which generator popped? It was one down this end of the map, it seems like. Because those four are still there.
It would have to be. The top three were hit by Corrupt, right?
Right, but I wasn't sure how middle it was, is what I mean. Anyways, you said it's weird we came down to Shack, which I agree with, but because main building tends to have such a tight 3-gen sometimes, or almost always, I should say, I don't hate that. They got 1-gen done down this side. They doubled it up and got it done. Now they've got the 3-gen down by main building. They do kind of have a 3-gen down this side, but the 3-gen down this side, I think, is more playable, if that makes sense.
Seems as if Metox is hovering for a save. In the meantime, Tech and Milston is going to do gens. Well, what other options do they really have, right? This also helps because if Metox is sticking around by the shack to get the save, you can also make the calls as to when the birds are coming out. You know, so Tech and Milston know when to get off of their gens, know when they can dodge, and yeah, Metox spotted there, just being a distraction, right? You know, a thorn in the lion's paw of DW. 2 gens going to pop for that one, but Fasty also on the second stage. Metox hit up with a bird as well, bleeding them into where Tech was. Now Tech is going to have to make a long rotate down to Shack. Oh, actually, yeah, no, having to make that rotate, but Metox is now injured, so Metox can't be a beacon of safety right now. Tech might be forced to just go for a super awkward trade here, or even worse, Fasty just straight up dies in the basement.
Yeah, they're looking like they're in a rough situation right now. Metox taking that double bird. I didn't know if that was going to hit. That was a really nice spread by DW. So it looks like DW has kind of sacrificed main building. I mean, what can you do? This, like I said, this is a massive map. We've sacrificed the main building generators, and we're just hoping to hold this 3-gen down this side. If we can secure this tunnel out, which, I mean, unless somebody teleports over here in the next 3 seconds, the reset comes in on Metox. Fasty's got 5 seconds to live. I don't think anybody's going to make basement there. Yep, no marks. Yeah, I'm wondering. I was looking for the stealth, but Fasty's dead at 2 gens left, and we've got a 3-gen. This is looking... This is winnable for both sides, but this is looking good for DW.
Yeah, remember, DW doesn't need the 4K. You just need the stages, right? And that changes everything, realistically.
No Shack pallet here to work with here for Tech. Good bird by DW. It's interesting that we're taking the chase here. I feel like you almost take a hit and run down the other end of the map, which is what's going to happen now. A little delayed, so, I mean, did what I said, but with more time cut off, but didn't make as much distance as you might have been able to make. Is that going to be a... no kind of balanced landing or anything there? That's going to be a pretty quick down. Interestingly enough, we didn't get a pain res yet. Milston is very close to finishing a generator, but it's got to be the gen on the main building side of the map. And DW, very smartly, takes this down to the middle of the map here, leaning towards Shack side for the pain res.
Yeah, the pain res is going to be tough. You saw how progressed Milson's gen was. I'm going to cut that one back by about 20% or so. And listening out, it was not that gen in the
It was this gen.
No.
Is it not?
Enough progress on it. No, not enough progress on it.
Oh, you're right. Okay, you're right.
Yeah, this gen's only about 50 or so. Milson working the main building gen, but what this tells me is that the survivors are making an early and active attempt to try and deal with the 3-gen. As strenuous as it may be, especially with Tech hooked right in the middle of the 3-gen as well, you are gonna have to just, like, pull Tech, run for the hills, get a reset. But this is a horrible spot for the survivors.
The trouble is yeah, we don't need a 4K. We could camp this out. Like, if you camp this out for a while, get another stage and whatnot, you're getting inching closer to that win condition. They can't, if we're going to camp this out, we cannot come in and we can't trade. Like that, in a 3v1, you trade like that, you're half your team is gone. Or more than half your team's gone. You have to come in for a double unhook. But if you come in for a double unhook, then everybody's injured. And then you just kind of snowball, and no one's on generators. What's going on here? I think we're gonna go to struggle. Yep. Wow. Okay.
Mito's been spotted out in the corner. This is tough because you're gonna have to take your injury and run the hell away. Now DW, of course, would love to just, you know, get the kill through onto Tech, but no. Seems like trench warfare is going to be the name of the game. Milston, Mitox, Tech going to reset themselves in the corner. DW going to kick and regress the gens. Of course, no eruption play, nor a Call of Brine or anything kind of amounting to that to help them progress along. It's dry kicks, as you said, and, you know, the pain reses will only help so much if the survivors will present themselves with the opportunity to be fresh hooked, which is, you know, not something they're inclined to do generally. It's going to be a slow, drawn out affair here.
The fact that Tech went to struggle is really dangerous, because if you get into a bad chase, you know, you can't just run to the other side of the map and go down, because the idea is run to the other side of the map, go down, get hooked, and then, you know, you're pressuring the gens and you got a hook on the other side of the map. Well, Tech's next hook is death, and then you're down to 2v1. There's no way they get out of that, right? So, and okay, so it looks like we found Tech, we found Milson. I think Metox might be crazy to be down the other end of the map injured, but it's so crazy it just might work. We are, for the record, for the scorekeepers at home, we are 4 hooks away from the win for DW and Oboy, which will take us to the 5th set, the Slinger set. Okay, so Metox is not working on the generator. That's good to know.
It's been so difficult for the survivors to even heal. That's the amount of absurd pressure that artists can place all over the map. Constant paranoia. Oh my god, what if our heal gets interrupted?
He got spotted.
By a bird?
Did he not see him? He was crouching right there. He didn't see him. He's behind that pallet. He's between the pallet and Shack on that rock. He looked directly at him and didn't see him.
Slingshot play?
No, he sees him now. Okay. He looked directly at him and then tried to place a bird into Shack like he thought he was in Shack. That was crazy. Anyways, doesn't matter now. I'm just laughing. I saw a creeping ace, and you know it's easy for us. We're not, you know, we can watch from the sidelines, but I was laughing because I was like, yeah, he's right there. That's a survivor right there.
That's him, officer. That's the survivor right there. More birds that's going to be thrown out. Metox kind of just trapped in his corner right now. Provided that you're buying crucial seconds for your team, it's not the worst thing in the world, you know? Where did you go?
Yeah, I don't know.
Huh? Okay, Metox actually just vanishes. The cloak of invisibility is real. Milson dodges the bird as well, so he's going to be able to continue to just incrementally progress that Shack generator. Of course, Tech probably in the most dangerous position. Try and work the quote-unquote safest gen, maybe? The hill gen? You know, it's still a tough task regardless. Again, no one's really here to call if the birds are coming out, and yeah, Tech going to be caught up there. DW can commit to this chase as well, should he so desire, but no, goes for the kick instead. Makes sense, this gen has progressed to, I want to say, about 60% or so. So not a bad play. Speaking of 60%, look at Milson's generator, approaching 75 now. If Tech can just, like,
I don't like this chase.
Stall for time at main building here. Again, you don't need a fantastic chase. You stall for time. Metox has to be positioned on an exit gate, and, you know, the response has to be rapid. Then there's a world in which the win is obtained here. But I say this is not drawable anymore. This is just straight up not going to be a draw. Either the gate gets opened and, like, the outs occur, Metox and Milson get out, and then it's a victory. Or Tech goes down too quickly, and the exit gate's going to be pressured with birds, and the survivors can't do a damn thing about it.
No, they're out. They're out. Oh
no!
It's too close. That was such a fumble. I'm sorry. That was such a really okay. We need to get it down here. That was such a question. Why are you taking that chase down? The survivor worth 1 hook state, the furthest away from the generators. Like I get it. That hill gen was a pain. You can't shoot birds up there. You can't get up there unless you walk all the way around to main building side. This is not enough. If we get this, this is not enough. If the other two just walk out the door, that's enough to win the match. They have 2 freshes. Milston will be the fresh hook, and that's it. This is probably over. I can't see a world where DW pulls this out. Committing to that chase, I think maybe he just felt like he had to get it done, but in the end, it was a mistake. That was a mistake. And that's it. Yeah, DW swinging in frustration, and I don't blame him. And that is going to be the win for Team Aegis. And Aegis will go on to sudden death next week. And Oboy, we're going to nod our hats and say GG's to Team Oboy. Oboy is going to be eliminated from the Winter Circuit.
Wow. Oh my lord. Okay. What a strange end to things. What a strange end to things, right? The 3-gen was there, the pressure was there, the downs were there, but we fumble it at the final possible hour. And literally by one fresh hook, one fresh stage, Aegis win this one, and they knock Oboy out of the tournament for good.